Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Building Better Communities. Today we have a great guest. His name is Mojtaba Ale, and Mojtaba, thank you, man, for carving out time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
And what is your favorite part about what you do day to day? What just gets you out of bed in the morning and you're like, I love what I do. What is it?
Well, that's a good question. Um, in it's generally in my industry, transportation engineering, you do a lot of technical work,
Hmm.
but depending on where you are and what you do, it's different. For my case, being a city traffic engineer, I get to do the technical work, but at the same time, I get to see that impact that I do out there for the community. The impact is very visible to you, and it's very human, and that is very rewarding. A lot of time, transportation engineers in general deal with a lot of data. I mean, I think you're aware, and a lot of your audience know that we deal with traffic counts. I mean, crash history, speed data, sight distance, analysis like operation analysis using Synchro software, and VSIM, signal warrants analysis, PHP, mean, the list goes on forever. But why we do all of this is because when you see it out there, you see that actually real people are using the results of what you do. You see maybe a mom walking her kid to school, maybe somebody using a crosswalk, some maybe even your neighbor wanting to get out of the neighborhood street. You get stuck in congestion in traffic, and pedestrian maybe feeling too exposed on the crosswalk. These are like daily experiences that people have, and you get to have an impact on it. Um, as a matter of fact, a lot of times people actually reach out to you with with concerns, and you get to talk to them,
Hmm.
and which is really good. I mean, some
Yeah,
people
it's
may
cool.
say that's not really fun, but in my case, it's actually very fun. And sometimes it gets challenging, but even I embrace that challenge as well. Um, so you know th- there are times that you may need to explain why things work, why some things don't work, and what it takes to do something. Let's say, I don't know, they ask for a crosswalk. Sometimes people reach out and say, hey, we need a signal here. I've had cases that people say that this intersection is crazy. We need a roundabout at this location, which is rare. I mean, considering people don't generally don't like roundabouts. Um, they're getting better though. I mean, the past few years, I've had less concerns about roundabouts, and before that, a lot of people didn't like that. Um, so
I think they're
um,
incredible, by the way. Just to throw in Europe, especially when I was introduced to them, just driving
oh,
around the first time in Italy, you go, these are amazing. And then I saw a
yeah,
couple in California, in Long Beach. I'm like, these are great.
man,
So
they work. They
yeah,
work. I
they
mean,
definitely work.
very simply put, they work.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I can talk for a day about how good roundabouts are and what their benefits are.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I mean, working at a government agency, it just makes you a lot closer to your community. I mean, previously I was at a state duty, and then I was in a consulting firm. All of those, like, it feels like you're a step away from where the impact of your work is. But now I get to actually talk to the people who are using the roads that
Mm,
I am trying to make better and more efficient for them, and that's very satisfying to me.
yeah.
Um, what else is there? Teaching is fun too. I like teaching. Just generally, I teach. I teach math, physics, stats. But in the context of my professional life in transportation engineering, I teach and try to mentor or coach junior engineers about what is it that we're dealing with. I mean, you go through the books and textbooks at school, and you learn the theory, and then all of a sudden you jump into practice, and you try to make sense of it. You just lack the experience, and having someone to tell you what or why things are the way they are. What is this thing in the manual? Why? What is it talking about? What's the reason behind it? It provides that, I want to say, it will provides that perspective to the younger engineer that makes them enjoy their job even better and want to improve, rather than get the data, do something with it, and spit out some I don't know, treatments or countermeasure and suggest it without realizing everything that relates to it from the beginning all the way to the end, and how you impact people. Anyhow, that's like general being in touch with the community, um, but not losing touch with your technical mind and doing the analysis that is kind of fun too. It is unique to this kind of government, local agencies. That's what
Yeah.
happens.
That is awesome. I love that. And I like that you
Yeah,
have a mentoring heart, like a servant heart. You're serving and
I
helping the
love that.
junior, right? And then also that's where your experience has value not only for the city of Roswell and the projects you work on, but also for showing someone, okay, you got all the basics. It's great. The textbook's awesome. We all need it. But now,
Yeah,
how do we apply that to everyday life? And here's
yeah,
where the experience really comes in. So that's so cool that you get to share that
exactly.
and encourage them. And what are so those are some of the parts you love about what you do. What's something, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Maybe just what's the one thing, if there are a bunch that are challenging? Is there one or two that you kind of think, hmm, this is a little bit of a challenge? What would that be?
Um, a good one. I said I talk to people and I like it, but a lot of times that can be a double-edged sword that
Mm,
you know. You come across, not a lot. Generally, people are very reasonable, and they understand when you talk to them, provide reasoning, provide like
yeah.
the process, and make them really get the point of what is it we do. But there are some times that you come across people that they just don't understand that there's a gap between what they ask us and the realization of whatever treatment they're asking for on the ground. Um,
What possible? So
so
they may have an idea, and then you go, well, that's a great idea, but that's just not possible. Is that kind of what you're
yeah,
getting at? Like,
it's not just a possibility. That's one thing. I mean, sometimes you'd say, "Hey, that's not possible because of so and so reason." I mean,
right.
you touched on a good point. Yes, prime example. People reach out, ask about, there's speeding in our neighborhood, in our community, and we
Speed
want stop
bumps.
signs. We
Right.
want
Stop
stop signs.
sign. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, stop signs. I mean, the stop signs hasn't have nothing to do with speeding. And I mean, if it comes to that point, I even have proof with data that says the stop signs do not drop the speed.
What
The
about
stop
speed
sign.
bumps? What are your thoughts on the speed bumps?
What exactly? Speed
Because we've
bumps.
had them
Speed
put
bumps.
here, and it does slow
No,
you
they work.
down. Yeah.
Let's not call them speed bumps in neighborhoods. Speed bumps are used for maybe parking lots.
We
Maybe
yeah,
it.
we have them in our neighborhoods here. Oh man. Okay. Well, then they're getting
Maybe you're
in
calling a
Virginia
speed
Beach.
hump.
A speed
A,
hump. Okay. Yeah, they're large. They're plastic. It has almost
yes,
like a slight 45-degree angle. Then it tops off,
that's
and
not
then
even
it's
a
up.
hump. That's a table.
Oh no, we've got tables. We've got the
Yes,
tables.
that's a table. So tables are perfect for. I mean, again, the conversation is really forming now. You giving me example, and I can give you the actual thing that I have in mind
Yeah.
regarding speed tables. You said speed table, yes. So first of all, they may ask for a speed bump. I would explain that, hey, speed bump is not, it's not the deal. It's not the best here. Let's go with the speed table. And they
Mm.
understand and they say, great, yeah, let's do it. This is the part that sometimes there is a lag between the understanding from the expectation to the
Mm.
actual work, is because if you want to do a speed table, sure, it's not just hey guys, you don't take your crew and staff. Hey guys, let's do a concrete work tomorrow and put a speed table in there. There is
Planning,
work to be
distance.
done for it.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
planning. So the
it's
frustration is probably they want it immediately, and you're saying it's going to take months. Well, I want it tomorrow.
yes.
Well, it's going to take, yeah, take
There
some
you go. You
time.
got the point.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can become frustrating to
Yeah.
people who wait. I mean, it has to go through planning, legal, data collection before the actual thing to be done. And then you want things to be done properly. And if you don't do it, and we have had cases like this, not in Roswell, but other places that I've heard that things are done in a rush and other stuff came up
Yeah.
and liability gets involved and all of that, you
Mm.
know. So
A lot
that's
of
one thing.
elements. A lot of elements at play.
Yeah, exactly. So
What's
that's
if
one thing
someone
that
was,
I would say.
if someone was watching this now and even thinking, that's great that Mojtaba just mentioned that. If I'm in a neighborhood, let's say there's a dad watching a mom, and they have five new kids, right? Baby, one, two, three, four, five, right in a row. A lot of little kids. They want to keep it safe. How long ballpark does it usually take? A year, 2 years to get everything kind of planned and approved? I'm just curious.
If you're asking me,
Yeah,
then I would say it depends on the municipality.
right.
The first thing is
For
that do you have a policy in place
How about
that
Roswell? Even Roswell.
Roswell, well, that's a good example. Roswell currently is in the process of upgrading our policy to incorporate some edge cases that has caused,
Expedite. Yeah,
yes,
quicker.
that has caused the previous version of the policy to become inapplicable
Mm,
in this transitory period.
mm.
So that's why sometimes, I mean, people reach out, and I mean, I can't blame them. They say, "Hey, I told you this like 3 months ago. We went through all types of communication." And I say, "I understand. There's one legal matter that we need to figure out because it's good for both of us. Like,
Yeah,
but for your community, if God forbid something happens, you don't want that to not be documented initially."
right, right. No,
Um,
I got it. That's a really helpful insight into your day to day life. And even though you love supporting and helping your community, sometimes there's maybe a little bit of a gap between I 100% want to help you and support you, and I would love to if like we had a magic wand and we can put the speed tables in tomorrow, we would do it. But it takes it takes a little more time, and that I could see that being a
yeah.
frustrating gap. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could go into all types of details about it. It's not just planning, there's funding involved, there's maintainability, I mean,
a lot,
the list goes on. So, again, back to the last question that you asked. If everything is in place, if
right?
everything is established and in order, I would say that it simply depends on the schedule of your staff. If you want to do things in-house, if you want to, contract out, then it depends on your procurement process. And that's it. And that may take some time between, I don't know, maybe a month or 2, 3 months. But it's just because everything is already established. You just go out, collect your pre-condition data, evaluate what's best, where the location that is good to do any type of treatment, not getting into the details of it, and then just simply do procurement and go out and install it.
Now, if someone's listening to this and they're saying that sounds exactly like what I want to do, maybe middle schooler or high schooler, if they're just watching this and saying I want to do what he does, this is cool. What would
Yeah.
you say to him or her? If they're in middle school, they're high school, what words of encouragement would you give to them?
A middle school or high school, that's awesome. I mean, you're touching on this. Sometimes I do school outreach
Mm-hmm.
with STEM material, and then I
Cool.
take stuff from my work and go out and then talk to them and say, for example, here's a roundabout and here's why it works, why it's many times it's better than putting a signal. And now some of the traffic engineers may not like that, me saying that roundabout is better than a signal. I mean, the traffic signals are good, but within some context. Again, that's my personal professional opinion. That considering like just general areas. Again, not getting into that details, but
Yeah.
yeah, I go out to schools and talk to them about that, what transportation is. Words of encouragement is, if I wanted to say, again, between middle school, high school, and even junior engineers, always, anything, Mike, I want to say this. Anything I would say, you may say, oh, he said this or he said that, and you may forget it. But I want to say something that is more, would work as an umbrella to anything else that you would say. Have a good coach, have a good mentor,
Yeah.
whether you're in your middle school, high school, or you're at college, or you, especially once you're done with your schooling. I mean, I went through a million years of schooling, and then when I went into practice, um, I did not have a mentor.
Mm.
And now, after, again, many years of being in the industry and practice, now I realize how how to say this, how important, how efficient, how
Critical.
wonderful
Yeah. Yeah.
it would have been if I had a mentor, so that I could use their experience, their insight, rather than just simply going to books and manuals and looking at formulas and following standards,
Mm.
trying to figure out things. It's not about it's not about simply just education. There is a lot more involved when it comes to transportation engineering, and for any type of engineering for that matter. If it is something that you do, it has if it is something that has a an outside manifestation of whatever you learn in the books, it's like electrical, mechanical, anything. um, there is an experiential element to it that is separate from the theoretical educational matter that you just cram up in your brain. You may or may not like it, that's on you. But when you come into practice, it has a lot to do with how experience works.
Mm.
And having a mentor can help a lot, like a ton with
Yeah.
that.
That
Uh,
that's with everything in life. Yeah, because then you're learning from their
Absolutely.
experience and you do it
Absolutely.
together. Walk on. Yeah, that's a great point.
And many people miss this. I mean, mm, it is unfortunate, but if I had to say one thing, to help everyone at a young age, I would say find a good coach who knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they can help you figure out everything basically. Um, uh, yeah, if it's a young engineer, I would just, chime in and say another advice to go out into the field, which is along the same line of your education is separate than your experience. Go
Hmm.
out into the field, watch how things are being done, how people walk, how people bike, how do vehicles actually drive at that specific area that you're dealing with. Um, I mean, you deal with intersections. You know how intersections are. When you go out into the field, just spend a few minutes there. It's a lot of times it's honestly a lot of times that helps you better than a few hours of looking at the plan sheet and seeing, oh, at this specific spot we have a pull box, what to do with it, and looking at turning movement counts. I mean, you look out there and you would feel it. The way that you experience things will give you a whole different perspective on how you can make engineering judgment in your work. So that's a serious thing that I would advise
I
everyone.
love it. And that's very wise. Find a mentor, team up with that person, and learn from their experience, and do it together. Don't try and do it alone. That's
Yeah.
great advice. And here's a surprise question, just for funsies, if you're okay with it. If you could have one piece, just one piece of additional data at every intersection in Roswell that you manage and take care of, and don't currently have, just as fun to dream, just to dream big. This is where the imagination gets engaged, like Einstein saying, imagination is so critical, right? So how, if we could just dream together and have fun together, what would be one piece, just one piece of data that you would love to have that you don't have already at intersections to make them safer?
Um, I would say it's not an imaginary thing. I would love to have this piece of data, which is vehicle trajectory and near miss data
Mm-hmm.
at intersections. And again, this goes, funny you mentioned this. This goes along with another thing that is, I want to say least favorite. It's not necessarily least favorite. Just its practice is just not there yet. A
Mm.
lot of times that we do things, especially in traffic safety area, which is my specialty, we do things in a reactive way. We
Right.
collect, we collect historical. I mean, what's the matter with historical crash data? Crashes are random; they happen here and there. Especially fatalities, they are
Mm.
super duper random,
Yeah.
and um, everything is being done reactive. So you collect data and you see the pattern and you come up with treatment, you go install it and hope for the best. Um, but my favorite way, again, it may be my favorite way, and it's maybe a lot of other people, is to do a proactive way of improving safety,
Yeah. I
and do
agree.
it in a systemic way, not
Mm.
just shoot for one intersection. Look what is happening in the network, in the corridor, and then treat all of them together at the same time. Yeah, for
Love
example,
it. Love it.
if you're trying to do traffic calming in a neighborhood, don't just go out there and put one speed table at one spot. That
Right.
doesn't work.
Right.
You have to do it systemic way
Yeah.
in like blanket treatment. So back to the question, when you mentioned one piece of data, having a near miss data, and that's a little jargon there. Near miss is like a potential for crash to happen. A car
Mm-hmm.
passes us right after that car, another car comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and the difference in the time between they both crossed a certain spot on the road,
Right.
if that is less than a certain level, maybe 2 seconds, let's call it, that is coined as near miss or
Right.
near crash.
Right.
And it's based on the vehicle trajectory and all of that. So that data helps, even if there are locations that there's not enough crash data to justify a project. That can be a proactive way of saying, okay, this location is like boiling with risk, even though we don't see a crash in the
Mm-hmm.
history.
Yeah.
And that is something you do there to improve it before a tragedy happens. And how better is that?
I love it, and that just begs the question. Just because it's such a fun, it is a fun discussion with you. I appreciate it, and I like the way that your mind works. We're thinking about this in the same way, so there's a lot of
Sure.
harmony going on here. How, like for the city of Roswell, um, how would you see, I guess, things like you mentioned, well, with the advancements and improvements, right, of technology, of AI, and systemic, especially treating it systemically versus independently, where do you see Roswell going with the use of improved technology and AI to increase the safety, reduce those near misses, right, and be proactive, like you're saying? Because that's the same. I'm coming from the same place. In the next 5 to 10 years, how do you envision that?
I wish the I wish the upper management were present to better answer that question. But
Mm-hmm.
all I can say that is that I am hopeful that we are moving ahead in that direction.
Yeah.
At least for the moment, we are um, tapping into some uh, newly developed softwares as service that provide probe data and
Yeah.
speed data. And that is, at least, if I can't say anything else, it's at least one step
Yeah.
ahead towards that direction.
That's awesome.
You can't have data, you can't collect data everywhere And if you have something like that that comes from connected vehicles or probe data, like cell phone data, that is very helpful, and you can be proactive to some extent. Hopefully that will expand into more ITS areas, and we can do a lot more than that.
Yeah, no, this is so great, and really, Mojtaba, thank you so much, man, for making time. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for sharing your experience, and thank you for just doing what you do, man. It really
Yeah.
comes through. I mean, I feel it, and the fact that you're helping mentor people is just it's beautiful. It really is. So thank you for what you do.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. This was valuable time.
Wherever people go, one signal at a time, one project, one design, making tomorrow brighter than today. They're building better communities, keeping families safe on every street, helping traffic move, helping dreams come true, making life a little easier for me